Hi, welcome to another episode of Under the Floorboard. There you go. I am joined by my fellow host, Sean Spalding, and by the phenomenal Nick Ponty.
That's some intro, that, isn't it? Some build up, and then the camera cuts to me, and they're like, "Oh, it's just him."
Nick.
He's always popping up.
Well, I'm actually going to pull him up. Could he call me a bastard in his podcast last time? Can you see that? Nick the Bastard Ponty's on.
Truth hurts.
The thing is, I can't believe that I've appeared on your podcast before you've appeared on ours.
But you've got a cheaper appearance, right?
We'll get you one of these days, Sean.
I know. But thank you very much for coming on anyway. What's the fancy new glasses?
These meta specs. So it is. I mean, it's obviously you're a big fan of the AI as well, aren't you? You're a tech head. I'm a terrible one for gadgets. So yeah, it's the Meta glasses. I mean, I've only had them a couple of days, but already I'm liking them because I've got prescription lenses, so I use them for driving, right? But they are handy. See, for business, if when it's like you're driving about and stuff like that, you're taking calls. So, I mean, they basically replaced the AirPods for music and calls.
So it's completely like audio and stuff as well.
Aye, so you can hear through them and that. So that's good. And then actually for properties, they've got video built in as well.
Right.
They're quite handy if you're, I mean, I know everyone's got their phones and that as well, but it's just quick. It's just like you can just say, "Hey, Meta, start recording."
Yeah.
And they don't work.
It's a great advert.
There's supposed to be a wee light here that comes on. I mean, you do feel a bit creepy. I've got to be if I think there's a privacy thing there, obviously. That's why they've got the wee light that comes on. Because people have got to know that you're recording them, obviously.
So I seen a guy, I was out last night, and there was a guy who, it wasn't like Meta glasses, just like normal glasses, but he's like lights on them. I've no idea what the whole reason is for it, but you press a button and two lights come on at the side, and it's like, mate, you look like the yellow Power Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. See when they're going through the car park, and she says our wee thing, lights come on, like you look fucking stupid with them.
Is it like
but they didn't look
fog lights?
They actually like normal. Like, I mate, there was like two big bright lights that came in. Like you look like an absolute dick.
I mean, I've got the sunglasses one, and my wife calls them a pair of glasses.
Oh yeah.
She says, so when we went to Vegas and I was like recording videos.
That's a bit pervy.
And then I'm like recording videos. I'm like,
I think these could get me into trouble, especially like when we go to Dubai and stuff like that. But we'll not get on to Dubai.
But you can do WhatsApp videos on them as well. You can do with them. And they'll see what you see. So just be wary of that. Obviously, if you're WhatsApping your missus,
Yeah, there's 101 things that I think you can do with them. So I'm still getting to grips with it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with some quick fire background questions.
Terrible easy.
One word or a sentence. We're going to, Sean,
I'm not very quick. Off. My mind does not work quick. So you might have to, there might be a pause. You might need to do some editing in between.
Right, go for it. We'll no edit so that actually shows the pauses, so it's better laugh.
Right, so I'll do the majority on this one, right? So let's like one word answers or sentences. If you need to elaborate a little bit, you can, obviously. So probably take you back, but first job.
So that was like, it was Safeways at the time, so it was the checkout assistant, and I also did the trolleys, going into the car park and getting all the trolleys back in the bay.
Safeway, that is a long time ago.
It was good, mate. It was like £4 an hour.
I still pass some of the buildings in a like zombie apocalypse kind of movie style. You just walk past them, like, bowled up, smashed in. Like,
you won't remember that, man. Even before that, it was Presto. It's Presto, Safeway, then Morrison's.
I vaguely remember Safeway, like just about remember Safeway, but I don't remember the one.
The trolley dolly.
That was 16. Double time 16. On a Sunday.
Oft. And how did you first get started in property? Because you're a letting agent, for anybody who doesn't know. Many more things than just a letting agent, obviously. But so how did you first get started in property?
First entry in property was like through, actually, my mum and dad had a couple of properties up in Inverness, a couple of HMOs. Back then it was just called bed sits. So that was my kind of first taste of it, growing up and seeing that. And then I bought my first property when I was 19. Had a wee bit of inheritance from my gran who passed away, and I was just going to go travelling with it. But my mum says no. She took me by the scruff of the neck and says, "No, you need to buy a buy a flat." And it was in Inverness I grew up, so I bought a flat in Inverness. I never stayed in it, just a resi mortgage, and then that did all right. Actually, that was my first property.
Decent. raising mortgage, not get away with that these days, are you?
No.
Too much compliance and red tape
So
these
that's
days,
an
isn't there?
Inverness financially prudent person. I mean, that doesn't happen very often.
See the
But no, it wasn't. It wasn't Nick was
was-
prudent. It was his mum.
That's
Aye,
my mum.
that's what I
Aye. But see, back then I timed it perfectly. That flat shot up about 70 grand in value over 4 years or something like that. So that gave me the start. That built up the equity quite quick.
When was that then? When you were
It was in Church Street in Inverness. Where was it?
when?
Oh,
Sorry.
when 2004 would have, no, sorry, 2000. I sold it in 2004.
Good time.
2000,
Just about.
2004. It was, things were booming.
With 70 grand profit on it.
Aye,
Oh,
crazy. In 4 years,
That's
didn't do
mental.
anything to it.
What was maybe that one? What was your favourite property deal you worked on?
Favourite property deal. I mean, mine's are pretty boring vanilla, right? So I'm not doing any fancy developments or anything like that. But I've got another one in Denniston that's done really well. That's doubled in value. I've had it now for about 15 years. Bought it for 68. That's easily worth like 150, 160 probably. And that was bought in 2010. So, you know, what
That's
they
phenomenal.
say about doubling property doubles, what is it they say every 10
Every
years?
10
Yeah,
years on
that's right.
average.
At
aye.
certain areas at certain times. If you get the
Aye.
timing right and you get location right.
Go to Inverness
that's-
and do it in 4 years, it quadruple.
So-
no, but that's a good area, obviously.
Yeah.
And obviously you bought right, and then
right time.
that's the whole point of buy let investing. You wait it out. It's not a 1-2 year turnaround. It doubles in
Aye.
value. You wait that time and then potential sell. You still got it, no?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
and is that what you see yourself? Do you do that as like another, I suppose, area of financial? Do you go and say, oh, well, I found a growing area, we'll call it Denniston and Inverness, and then buy something?
I think that I'm quite good at identifying opportunities. I see opportunities at the moment. I was doing videos in the city centre. I was actually looking at commercial at the moment, and I feel like I'm quite good at identifying. Like city centre's on its knees at the moment, as you might sort of feel when you go in there. It's just there's no atmosphere. It's dead. I mean, I used to work in the city centre, and what a buzz you used to get, but now it's just dead. I was speaking to a cafe owner. He's like, my business is basically fucked. Probably going to need to close down. Loads of other businesses closing down. So I think if you're buying like commercial in the city centre at the moment, you can get probably a good deal. And then in years to come, if they plough the investment in, it's all about looking where is the money coming from. Is there going to be investment? Govan Hill was another one that I called about 7 or 8 years ago. If you go back on Facebook on the Spin group,
Aye.
you can just type in Nick Ponty Govan Hill, and all these people are slagging Govan Hill because it was all like the kind of Roma community, Gypsy community. And so that's probably not the right term to use.
Travelling people.
There was a
Travelling
lot
community.
of Eastern Europeans that were coming in. They were overcrowding flats. There was a lot of kind of issues with drugs. There was child prostitution going on, terrible things going on.
Was there not
Govan
like
Hill.
There's a lot of
something
that in
the
the paper.
rats? Was there not an issue with rats
Aye.
in the tenement building?
Yeah,
and all that
the
as
whole
well?
place was disgusting. Nobody
Aye.
wanted to live there. And I bought a couple of flats there for investors when I started Dark Property, and they were on board with it. And now they've shot up in value as well. Like, you know, all these wee kind of trendy hipster cafes opening up there, and the
Aye.
bakeries and stuff like that.
Aye.
So what areas are you looking at now? Nick?
Nah, I can't.
No, don't share it. Share it offline. That'll be fine.
No, I don't mind. Listen, the people, obviously we've got investor landlords that are still buying, and at the moment I really like Paisley. I really like East Kilbride as well.
Paisley's really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, see the value, like for a 2-bedroom flat, you're what, 850
Yeah.
places. That is really good. It's getting quite if you can get the deals, you can get them at a good rate as well.
Folk are talking about, obviously we're up to 8% ADS as well. And, Paisley's probably one of the few areas you can still get, your wee kind of 1-bedroom flats for under 40 grand if you look hard as well.
That's right.
Sorry, off the quick fire.
All good. To be
to
fair,
that.
we got 3 questions in with Vicky and it was a bit long. The longest answer. So I'm looking forward to this one for you. One lesson you wish you'd learned sooner in property investing.
So I would say I wish I'd been a little bit more picky about the properties that I took on to manage on the letting agency, because there's a few there that are just problems. There's always issues. They're needing a good one of your refurbs, Sean. We need to get you in and get them sorted out, you know. But I know
I forgot to say one of my refurb went down now.
we need one of your refurbs.
Oh, one of my refurbs.
We need to get your team in there, strip them back and get them sorted out. But obviously,
hammering you there.
I know, so no.
We do have a range of clients, landlords, and stuff like that. Some of them are
It's a polite way of putting it.
some of them are getting towards the end of that. You know, they maybe don't have that motivation to invest in the properties, so it's hard to get them up to standard. So right at the start, I should have probably identified that we're never going to get this property up to standard, and probably be a lot stricter in the ones that we're taking on.
Was that more like the kind of early side of things where you're like, I'm trying to build this like agencies, I need volume in now, because if you're only taking what range between like 8 and 12% in it and VAT and stuff,
need
so
numbers.
You need a high volume to actually make a decent amount coming in. So you're like, yeah, let's just take it in, and then you look back and go, there's maybe not the best stock I should have took, but you've got them now and they're still there.
Some of them are still.
Let me just go off just a minute, and I'm sorry, Sean, right? I know that you're going to get all stressy about going off the 10. So just one thing.
Fell off the 10 before, mate.
You identify, can I say that? You class yourself as a letting agent manager ownership. What makes you better than anybody else?
Jesus.
No, it's because we haven't covered it.
That's a good question.
Just one point here. I've had experience. I thought you were brilliant. You managed one of mine for years and years, and I thought you were brilliant. So, what makes you better?
I think that why people come to us or me is because we're not at a scale yet where, I can't be fully involved in the properties and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So we're about 300 units. And at that point, although I've got a team of 4, if the shit hits the fan, there's something that, is a major issue, I'll be there. And it's like yourself, Sean, as well. Like you're in and out all these refurbs. You're making sure that the quality is there before you hand over to the client. For me, it's like, I need to know that things are getting done to the best possible standard, and it's my name above the door. Well, it's no, because it's called Arc Property, but it's no Ponty Properties, I was contemplating Ponty Properties.
Why Arc Properties? In my head, is it the Arc for the bridge in Glasgow? Is that what
it was the Arc Clyde Arc Bridge, which is a squinty bridge on it. So it's just a kind of quite an iconic, and it's got the wee swoosh, which looks like the bridge. But that's another thing that happened today. But somebody's copied my name, so it's Arc Property. There's an Arc Property Management. And I got a phone call last night at 11:30 from a tenant, an emergency call. I've got no running water. Is that Arc Property Management? I'm like, what? This has happened 3 times now in the last 2 months. So I need to speak
and you're just Arc Property.
We're just Arc Property, but somebody's come up with this name, Arc Property Management. We've been going like 7 years now, and they've only been going a year and a half. So they obviously knew that I was there. Do you know what I mean? They must have done their research. Anyway, sorry.
That's annoying,
but just on that, I don't think they can open a company in that name.
Well,
it's the same type, and it's honestly,
I need to speak to them. I mean, it's going to cause a lot of confusion, but I think the care and attention, and the fact that the owner of the company is actually going to the property or meeting the tenant or going to sort the issue, is, I think, cuts us out certainly from a lot of the big corporate agencies, because what the feedback we get from a lot of landlords is, letting agents can just become, if they get to a certain level and very corporate, and it's just systems and staff, they can just become a call answering service where it's like the tenant phones in with an issue. Literally, they're just batting it back to you as a landlord and saying, what would you like us to do? I don't think that's how, a management agency, a property manager should work. I always drum it into my staff, when you contact the landlord, make sure you know the options and the solutions. Give them solutions, don't give them problems.
Yeah, I mean, my experience, and I'm not bumming you up here, is the fact that obviously I was remote, and you're maybe saying, this is the problem, here's the solutions, and I'm like, what's the best one? And you're like, I think this is probably
the
my
best one. You said, what's the cheapest one?
To be fair, we didn't get much pushback from Stephen. He was always keeping the property to a high standard. Very responsible landlord.
No,
There
I
you
mean,
go.
to be fair, like obviously I've
Thank you.
passed landlords to you as well for a few, and as based off that one, I think the knowledge you show both on your own podcast, your networking events as well. You obviously stand up and give a monthly update, so you know your stuff. It's quite clear, but that whole personal approach as well, because even on your social media, you're in and out of properties doing inspection check-ins and the tenancy changeovers and all that, so people can see. Yeah, I mean, to me, 300 or 400, how many it was,
300, yeah.
it's a big number. Do you know what I mean? But you can still give that personal approach. So when they're phoning up and they're speaking to you, it doesn't feel like it's 300 odd properties you've got to manage. It's maybe only a few, and you're like, I can still give you that personal service. So
And that's the decision I've got to make now. It's like, where do I go with it? Do I really want to scale to that bigger level where you lose control?
Yeah.
And then it's like, things can get a bit ropey in that stage because we all know.
Your reputation can start to tumble, can't it? Because
it's hard. It's a
We've
hard
seen
call.
plenty of companies come up, be good, and then they just grow so big that like you've lost your originality of how you became so big in the first place and so good in the first place.
And I've done 2 or 3 calls to landlords already. That's why these glasses are good. 'Cause, you can still call and walk about. Well, I know you can do that with AirPods, but
I know the AirPods Pro, by the way. I get the AirPods Pro, and they're absolutely horrendous for calls.
Yeah,
Horrendous.
not
Nobody can
great.
hear me.
because you've got massive ears.
I've got tiny ears.
It's not that your big ears.
that's getting a bit personal now, isn't it?
Mate, I know.
Eh?
Big features, all right.
Say big ears.
I think you've already answered this, but I was going to say, like, if you could invest anywhere in Scotland, where would it be? But you've touched on, like, East Kilbride, Paisley.
I mean, I think...
Or give us a Nick prediction. Give us your Govan Hill prediction, but for 2025. So where's your up and coming?
For 2025, I mean, I think we did a podcast on this. I think it's going to be steady growth again. You know, I think we're looking at, again, if you're looking at average property prices, and again, you can take your data from so many different sources.
Yeah.
You know, and you can average, what is it? You know, UK prices or Scottish prices or Glasgow prices or niching down into Govan Hill prices. But I reckon that on average over Scotland, I think we'll probably see about 5% growth in property prices. I just think that the stabilisation of the interest rates, and I think things will still notch down a little bit. I guess Trump could come in and obviously...
Anything could happen, can it?
Anything.
I seen was it 4 drops this year they're predicting
Aye.
in the rate? So
Yeah, and I
see
think
what that
things
does.
will kind of sit round about the kind of 4% mark. And I think, you know, already we see the property market in certain areas very buoyant still.
yeah.
Things are still going all right. You'll know yourselves, putting offers in and stuff like that.
If you were to like, so go back to if you're
I know his
investing.
politician got out with that answer. Do you see?
I
He
know.
just danced
if you
all the way
invest
around it.
anywhere, so if you say to me, Sean, here's my money, I want you go and find my property in this area because I think this is where I want to go.
Yeah. Well, I go back to Paisley, Renfrew,
That kind of areas.
and I would definitely say try and go for the houses. They're a wee bit more expensive, but for me, the houses, because you're getting longer term tenants. You know, there's too many. We've got a lot of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom properties round about kind of city centre and going into like West End, Denison and all this. People are quite, what's the word, transient. You know, people come and go. Whereas you get the family in, get them settled in a nice 3-bed terraced house, you know, ex-council, maybe 120 to 150 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
The good thing is, okay, your mortgage interest payments are going to be quite a bit more, but you're going to save there on the factors. You're not going to have the factors cost. Factors are killing things at the moment. Yeah. Even tenement flats, you're paying like £100 a month factors. You know, that's what, Paisley's quite good as well. You can get a lot of unfactored buildings, but that comes
because its own issues as well. Especially like
I would rather they were factored.
Me too. Nah, I'm joking with the unfactored stuff. We've got unfactored stock, and it's no end of hassle. And especially if you're a landlord and you own the top floor, nobody else is giving you money to repair that roof.
We had one we were dealing with, and the client had bought one. It was a top floor flat. So it was 6 in the block.
Mm-hmm.
All either privately owned or like through the council, like housing social, that kind of thing. There was no management on it, and they were top floor. And when they got it, there was a leak in the roof.
Yeah,
caused a bit of damage to the one downstairs. But they had to repair it on their side. But the roof slates were missing. The roof is ancient, needs replaced. But you're not going to fork out for that size of the roof like 10k plus himself to do it. But then you need to rely on other ones. But then they're not going to pay it, and the landlords aren't going to pay it. Because it's not affecting them right now.
exactly.
So when it's unmanaged, yeah, it's cool. You don't have that fee, but when the shit hits the fan, it's top floor flat. You're it because you need to fix it. So it causes more issues. So if you're going to do that unmanaged, go for middle level.
Tell you another one, Govan as well. You're asking for areas. Govan, It's good
Yeah.
and still affordable, and I think it's got potential more growth there. Obviously with the new bridge and all that.
That one, I remember I'd messaged you. You were on the same street. I thought you were going at the same flat, but it was Middleton Street. Kind of near Govan. We'd done one in there, and that was like 1 bedroom, 750 rent
Aye.
for a 1 bedroom. You're like, shit, that's a lot for a 1 bedroom. But there's a lot going on around about it.
We're getting 795 for a 1 bed, and it's not even a 1 bed. It's a room and kitchen.
Oh.
You know the room and kitchens, tenement flats.
Yeah.
Basically 2 rooms where they kind of there's a row of kitchen. I mean, I think there's like 2 units or something like that. Where are you going to put your plates and your food?
Oh.
And then they've got like there's a recess bit, but there seems to be the demand.
Is there more like students in them though? Because it's like not.
No, you get a lot of people. I don't know. We get a lot of people working in the financial sector, and you know, like JP Morgan, Barclays.
Because you're just along the road from there, aren't you?
Well, not far from there. The Barclays definitely brought a lot of people in. And then you've got the underground, obviously the subway station, going into Govan as well. And obviously along the road at Ibrox and, you know, you've got Cessnock and all that.
No.
So I think there's still good growth there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has grown already. I mean, it has popped already, but I think there's more pop left in it.
I lived in Govan for years. Like, the Garden Festival houses, do you remember the ones?
Yeah.
Opposite Govan Town Hall. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely.
It's still good. There's good character down there as well. Do you know what I mean? It's still, you can still get that feel of the real Glasgow down there. Whereas if you're in the West End,
yeah, I mean, I felt that
Partick or
character
something.
when somebody broke into next door neighbours and nicked everything. I felt real character.
That's a Glasgow character.
That's what you used to get. Govan Hill was notorious for that. I mean, they literally used to come in and just strip everything out, and the closes like steal like the rail, see the metal railings and that, and the closes. They used to just come in and like angle grind off the metal
away.
just for scrap and stuff like that. So there'd be no banister going up the stairs.
I walk on.
A couple of years ago, my missus, her mum comes from Barking in East London, and she was just she was in a house, and out the front was one of these like big metal chest things that had bikes and stuff in it. And she actually there's 2 guys just with a crowbar in the middle of the day, and she was banging the window, and they were like, "What?" And they were just unclipping the thing in front of her. And they were like, "What is it?" And they were like, "What do you want?" She's like, "That's mine." And they were like, "Okay."
Cool. So
and they were just like, they were stealing in front of her. And I was like, "What's going on?" So maybe Govan Hills.
Where was that?
In Barking, East London. It's like all these it's dodgy,
they were from
dodgy
Glasgow,
East
but
London. Aye.
wasn't
there.
saying that.
So let's get back to these questions. Sorry.
So apart from, because I don't want you using that as an answer, apart from the Scottish Property Networking events once a month on a Wednesday. Yeah, shout.
Thanks, nice plug. Very
and,
nice.
and the Scottish Property Podcast. What would be your go-to resource for property advice or inspiration? Because for me, like I think I've said it before, that was my inspiration and advice. Go to those events, listen to that podcast.
Yeah,
still do. Don't get to the events now actually because Mrs. works late on a Wednesday now because I changed the shift and I can't make it good events. But apart from that, like what would be yours side of things?
I mean, ChatGPT.
You're big on that.
Honestly,
I
love it. I'll tell you. I mean, like, honestly, this is how scary it is. Certain professions in not so long will be totally wiped out. Mm-hmm. One of them being solicitors, because the transactional process it's all a manual, isn't it? It's all do this, this, and the next thing. If that's all fully automated, I mean, like I'm researching commercial property at the moment, right? Something I don't know a lot about. Now, obviously, I could pay to go, thousands of pounds on a course and do all that. I mean, I don't know if there's much that ChatGPT is not going to tell you about commercial property investing. I don't know, Stephen, you're into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a thing at the moment. ChatGPT's got Sorrow. Have you seen it? SORO. It's not released in France and the UK. But if you create a VPN for your laptop, go on. It's phenomenal. It's like ChatGPT doing phenomenal pictures, and it's like Mid-Journey. Mid-Journey is like a graphical package. It just takes you to the other level. Yeah. I think ChatGPT is the world.
So for example, like even like I went to see a full townhouse it was just off Bath Street in the city centre the other day, right? And obviously I know about property and I can see that the windows maybe need upgrading, the roof and all that, right? So I've got that experience going in there. But I don't know about how it works when you're renting out space and what price per square metre you can get in the area. I was amazed at how accurate that was. ChatGPT, I was like, right, I've got this building that's like 3,000 square foot, and I just started prompting it. If I rented out spaces and there's so many rooms in there, the whole building, put all the figures in, plugged it in, and then I started saying about I'm getting an 8% interest rate on the loan. I started giving it all the figures and all that. Could this be a profitable deal? And then it starts breaking it all down. It starts spitting it out and all the rest of it. All the calculations. Then it gives you the price for Glasgow city centre per square foot for all the different sectors and all that. And I'm like, that would have taken me ages going around an agent to find that out. And I verified it with an agent. I was pretty much spot on.
Aye. It is wild. I use Property Market Intel for some of that kind of stuff. Right. It's got a thing, but I pay for that monthly. But Chat GPT, or you can pay for it monthly.
I pay 20
quid or something.
Yeah, I do as well.
But I mean, if you're going to go down a bit, I mean, obviously there's loads of books, podcasts, YouTube. There's some people that, again, it depends what sector you're going into. Property. We always talk about property, but there's so many different things. You're going to do SA, you're doing HMOs.
Who do you listen to?
I like the guy.
Can I say yourself? Listen to yourself.
Steve. I like Steve.
80-inch screen on a Friday night with my Chinese and all that. I'll just sit down at the Scottish Property podcast, on the big screen with the missus sitting beside me.
Watch this.
No, it doesn't happen. Do you know who I quite like, who I find very authentic, is that guy, shout out, Jamie York. I really like his content. He's a YouTuber, property guy. And there's a couple of other great ones. There's that James Property. He was a TikTok guy originally. These guys are giving really good value. You know why I like it? Because they're always in amongst properties.
Is that the guy that always wear the kind of D-Wall t-shirts?
He's obviously sponsored up to the hills.
So I remember when I was, again, getting into it, he's one of the first people I started following. Because it's big on HMOs and that, down south.
It's not maybe going to suit.
But again, even just for the kind of how you do things, the process of it, even just the renovation tips of it as well, I think we're pretty good.
Well, these guys that are doing these short form content, that here's top 10 tips to, manage your property. I do some occasionally, but I love that. That just those quick 1 minute videos where you're just getting a bit of flavour for it.
So we were just talking about how much has changed from the content of, you still use pictures and everything else, but everything is pretty much quick answers. Don't beat around the bush with it. It's 30-second videos and just there's information. Where's the next bit of information and resource or bit of humour? It's just very quick videos and information that come through. And that's what people want and engage with.
I've been following, is it Oliver Adams as well?
Right.
He was a ex-auction guy and he's a deal trader. So what he'd do is he will buy 25 houses a month, right? Straight out of auction, and he'll just punt them straight on and no touch them.
Right.
It just straight on. And he's making some on them because he's repackaging them better. He knows what to look for in an auction because he was an auctioneer for ages. Mm-hmm. It's incredible listening to him, what he does, and he's like, I did 500 this year, and it's just like...
What I would say is, when you do start liking somebody or watching their content, look a bit behind what they do as a business as well.
Yeah.
Because it's all well and good, but these guys are doing this content for a reason, right? Obviously to drive their own business, a marketing tool to get the audience in. And the reason I like those guys that I mentioned, and those are English content creators, right? So it might not necessarily apply. Like you said, there's a lot of talk about HMOs and all the rest of it, which doesn't really apply. Closer to home, guys like, obviously I work with Stephen Clark, I like his content because he's out and about and he's doing big projects. Big thing up in HMO up in Aberdeen, and he's always doing some sort of renovation. Jerry Alexander I find very credible as well, very good. Gillian Green, who I co-host the network with, they've got their coaching community thing. So everyone's got their own wee thing. What I would do if I was starting out and I wanted something good to follow and learn from is if I was going to pay somebody to learn, I would want to the point I always make is you want that person to have had a certain amount of success at that property strategy that you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And you want to know that it works, and that's how they've been a success.
Rather than being a great trainer and a great
made a bit of money
person.
Aye, because and without going, I don't want to go into the whole detail, but people say you hate courses, Nick, and it's no that. It's that I hate the people that pump hundreds of thousands of pounds into Facebook ads, and clearly they're very good digital marketers, and I would pay them to go on a digital marketing course because they're geniuses at that and getting people in. But they might not necessarily be that active in property. That's all I'm saying.
Probably have to cut that, I think.
No, it's good. Because there's still loads I see of different people doing different courses. I'm like, I've never really seen you in property or investing. I see people who I've actually seen a few times, people that I've seen going through a course, and then I go and like 6 months later they're also doing their own mentorships and courses. I'm like, you've been doing it for 6 months. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you offering mentorship after 6 months? Why are you offering a course after 6 months?
I'm not a big property investor, so like I've spoken about this in the podcast. I think the last time I bought a property was about 3 years ago. So like I've not been active in buying my own stuff. In that 3 years, where I have been active is growing a business.
No, can you get 4 members of staff now, you're saying?
Yeah. So that's kind of...
What else, just on that, sorry, I know we're on number 7 here, just on that, so what other kind of areas of growth or areas investigating are you looking at? Because when I listen to your podcasts and stuff, and especially I know you're going to have to plug Jerry Alexander because everybody, but is commercial something you're looking at?
Jerry gives him 50 quid every time he does 50, it.
It's gone up 50.
I'm surprised you're not retired then.
No, it's just I like to keep people. I mean, obviously we've got a big network with the podcast, and we've spoken to a lot of people, and I watch a lot of people because it's for part of the research for the podcast. I've got to pull in. We've got to pull in guests. We've got to try our best to try and do due diligence on the people who are credible and present people to our audience who we think they'll get value from. So that's the reason I'm mentioning names, no like any affiliation or anything. But then
like sorry, what areas are you thinking? So you said that you're a bit nervous about growing your business because it could affect the way it is. What other areas are you looking at?
I would like to. Well, I've just set up a SaaS pension. So the idea is this year, as one of my goals that I just set out, is that fund, if you like, that needs to get invested because at the moment it's doing hee-haw in the bank. So the areas for growth for me is the next thing will be buy a commercial building which Arc Property can operate out of.
Yeah. And
sublet spaces. Like, we're sitting in an old church here, aren't we? So that they've obviously taken this on, converted it into different spaces. One being a podcast studio. I think it's a great model.
What is it, like it's like a CMO they call it? You've got like different office spaces. Because like you want to work out of there, but if you're hired or letting out different rooms, that covers your rent, essentially your mortgage, whatever it comes under.
And you did a podcast on that, didn't you? Because I called you about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's phenomenal. And I think, as you're saying, if you've got 20 units in there, and then they're, that's paying for you and then profit, then you're up.
I mean, I still like buy to let, don't get me wrong. It doesn't excite a lot of people because, we're talking, let's be realistic here, right? We're talking about £250, £300 a month cash flow. It's going to take a lot of them for you to be financially free. So, depending on your lifestyle, if you're a single guy and you've got no kids and you've got no wife, then maybe it might not take too many.
That's a lot of tenants lager, isn't it?
Is that why you've got to obviously set up the SaaS pension in it? Because that's a tax efficient way of doing it for commercial, isn't it? You can invest a full 100% from the SaaS pension and you can pretty much put it back in without paying any or little tax.
Pay yourself out. So hopefully, by the time retirement age is, Stephen, you'll not be far off.
I'm retiring in 4 years.
So it was 55, wasn't it? And now they've said 57. When you can get your lump sum. So you get your tax-free lump sum. If you've got a pension at 55, you can take up to 25%, I'm sure. Tax-free. And now I think they've said 57. So the idea is over the next 10 years or 12 years, because I'm 45, I'll be hopefully filtering out any profits not property into SaaS pension tax-free. Then when I'm 57, I'll be taking a lump sum, doing something with that, and then hopefully the kids will be growing up and we'll
be living in Dubai.
Fuck off to it. Well, still not been to Dubai yet. We'll see how it is. Somewhere like that.
Trip goes. You're not go back. Him and Steve will just stay out there.
I mean, there's got to be something like that, like a long-term goal, isn't there? That you're looking
Everybody's gone there, isn't they? Tax haven.
Aye, but
Saudi, by the time you go, it'll be Saudi. 100%.
I mean, all the footballers are going there, aren't they? But that's
They've won the World Cup. They've got the Winter Olympics. The F1 is there. The golf is there.
I'm really looking forward to checking it out because there's so much hype around it, and I just think that sometimes you think the grass is always greener on the other side, isn't it? And then I don't know. I'm one for I like the mountains. I like the forests. I like the nature, and I just can't see getting much of that.
Where are you going? To buy?
He's going to the beach.
No, this is why I couldn't live there.
Aye.
This is why.
There's a place called Hatta you can go to.
Is that like an indoor? Is it
No,
like
it's
It's just virtual reality. Close your eyes.
You get
Play
the
some
smells.
ambient sounds.
it's one of the countries in the UAE is Hatta, and it's mountains. It's freezing.
Aye.
It's too cold. Should we jump back to some?
Aye. So I
personal
think
questions?
I've heard you covered a lot about this in I can't remember if it was a call somewhere it was on, or it was a podcast, or maybe the networking event. But what would be the one, if you had to choose one thing you'd always check before buying a property?
I wouldn't say home report. So that would be probably the last thing. Do you know what? I really like, and I think you can get so much information from? I think it's overlooked sometimes as chatting the neighbour's door or trying to get a conversation with a neighbour. It can open up so many, interesting things.
Proper real insight of the street, the flat, the
the
tenements.
neighbours.
Aye.
One time I was. I mean, I wouldn't let that put you off sometimes as well, because sometimes they'll just be gossiping. There was one time I chatted with neighbours door and they says, I see that guy over there, right across, facing onto your house that you're thinking about buying. He's just out of jail. Paedophile. But I mean, again, it's like, okay, well, all right. Well, not ideal, but
Talking about a family in there.
but if I'm getting a good enough deal on it,
the numbers work.
Buy-to-let.
We'll just put a CCTV camera in sold instead and make the numbers work.
beef up the security a wee bit and it'll
Yeah.
be fine. So I think that as well, if you're buying a building, if you're buying a flat in a building as well and it's unfactored and stuff like that, chatting a neighbour's door, they'll be able to tell you the history quite straight away. If it's an owner-occupier, they'll be like, yeah, we had this. So I think a lot of people, like younger folks starting out as well, they've got sometimes a bit of anxiety about just like door knocking, like random strangers as well.
Aye.
And obviously, a lot of time you will sort of get somebody who's very cold towards you, or get the door slammed in your face. But quite often you'll just hit the, if the property's been on the market for a long time, there's always a reason, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to find that reason why it's not sold.
Yeah.
And the agent's not going to tell you probably. The home report's not going to tell you because they don't go into that much detail.
No.
So you want to try and get to that real reason.
That's a good
great
one,
shout.
chat. Aye, the neighbours thing, because I remember we were in a flat and the neighbour I didn't chat the door. No, I've got social anxiety or anything like that, but they just happened to come out. It's like, what's this flat like? We're looking at doing blah, blah, blah. And the owner had left at this point. They'd left. I went to take a picture of the back door area and it's like, on you go, while they're rushing off to work or whatever. I just happened to catch a neighbour and they were saying, hi, listen, it's lovely. I can't remember his name. The neighbour upstairs, number whatever, he maintains the whole close, and we just chip in and give him something at Christmas time, and it was a very well maintained close. Like he paints the walls if it's done, and he'll clean it up and that, and he fixes the roof and stuff. I'm like, there you go. Like you don't know that on a home report.
Yeah.
The owner didn't tell me. So that's just a neighbour that's come out with that information. So I know it's a well maintained close, but then I'm thinking, what if he moves? Like who's going to do
They
it
just
then?
gave him a selection box at Christmas. And
No,
he's
I
like,
know
up the
chip
roof.
in and get him a big kind of present and stuff like that. But you don't know that until you actually chat the door. It's even same with like empty houses. You're trying to find like the kind of golden ones there, like chat people's doors.
Yeah.
See when you go like, I put a letter through the box, a letter through the door. I'm like, to that empty house, it's been empty for 2 years.
How often is he coming to look at that?
When are you getting a response from them? Like some family member who lives down in Manchester coming up to check it once a year. Like that's when you might get a response. Like chat neighbours' doors and see the story. Go on local community chats and like people who live in that area, that street, they'll know more than the home reporters and the agents because they only get limited
And you're
snippets.
talking about checks there. I've now got my drone now that I've just bought my other wee bit
Seen
of tech.
that, actually,
So
aye.
I did.
I try to put it up today to get we're taking on a new property and rent through there. And I got it all set up, put the remote control thing on the screen. It came up with a big red banner saying no fly zone. Obviously, Renfrew, it's beside the
yeah,
airport,
yeah.
isn't it?
Oh.
So I was like, ah, fuck, it wouldn't let me take
And
off.
it wouldn't let you take off?
No, it's got, because it's GPS and all that, it was all locked down.
That's
So-
good. Surely you can override that somewhere.
They must be able to, but I'm not that experienced. I've only had it for a couple of days. But
Surely if you're saying, I'm only going up to a certain height,
yeah, you'd imagine.
do you know what I mean?
No, but next to an airport, I wouldn't expect. No,
No, it's a bit-
because they have to have a kick at the back and at the front in case of any problems.
Well, surely there's something built in. If you go so high, it cuts it.
By
I
the
don't
way,
know.
don't take your drone to Dubai. They're against the law.
Oh, is it?
Aye, it's banned. No drones are allowed in
Oh,
Dubai.
I was thinking content down the beach, me and Stephen walking down.
With your second skin speed was on.
Aye. But no, he was like, he said to me, oh, I'm getting myself in shape for this Dubai trip and all that. I don't know what sort of photos he's going to be posting, but you'll not see
be
me
near
on
a
my
beach.
top of.
Not near a beach.
Just chat GPT, just make you.
Aye.
You can finish the questions.
I'm going to, right, and you can't say the two of us, and you can't say Stephen or Jerry Alexander either.
That's two names. I want money for Jerry now.
That's 340. You know.
I'm trying
That's
to
all the
get you
people he
up.
knows now,
I
come
think
on.
I'm going to get you 200 quid by the end of Jerry.
Who, Jerry?
If you could have dinner with any property expert, past or present, who would it be? Oh, man. Nobody that you've mentioned today.
I guess it's about trying to get. I don't know.
And it can't be anybody, the Green Party or Nicola Sturgeon or any of this good on.
Robbie Fowler.
That is a brilliant shout.
Do you remember when he started popping up on all the Instagram ads? He
Aye.
was the guy. He was a big property investor. But they were-
He was one. We talk about like, the course side of things. He was the first one I heard doing like, I come this, it's 50 quid. If you want to buy the next one, it's 100 quid. Then it's 200 quid. Then it's 500 quid. It's a grand. Just
I read
give me
his
a full
book.
price.
It was a guy from Glasgow, was his property agent.
is it?
Do you know that? At one point, it was mental. He only done it because Michael Owen was getting involved as well at the same time. But
No, I only say that because it was a laugh because the property education course we're using him as the kind
were
of
we?
the face of it. Yeah, the face. You know, he was the kind of guy. You know, he's a successful property investor.
This is where he made all his millions. No play football. No.
he's a perfect role model as well.
I'm trying to think. What's the other people said? Is this?
We're not telling you.
Can anybody spring to mind that would be?
Anybody at all that you go, oh, I'd love to.
Just sit them there and pick their brains.
Like a Grant Cardone, maybe.
Well, there's a guy that I've asked now. There's a guy who I respect very much, who's a big developer. I don't know if you've seen a local guy, Stephen McKechnie. And his Kelvin Properties that his company is, right?
right.
And he does really, really lovely high-end developments and stuff like that. I mean, it's like amazing stuff that he does. And I've asked him now 3 or 4 times to come on the podcast. And well, I've asked him a couple of times at the start. He's like, no, my bag. And that's another point, actually. See some of the most successful people in property. You'll not see them on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I've seen that before. I heard that before.
You know, like, I mean, guys that are at top ends, you know, and then you think to yourself, well, what the motivations are people plastering all over social media? It's just a marketing tool.
But then that goes a different way, because I do think like Grant Cardone, for example, that's the opposite end of that, or, you know, there's quite a few guys, I don't want to name them, that are all out like a rash. So I wonder what the mindset is to go.
I mean, the people we're talking about is that level, and then there's probably that next level where like they don't need to be seen because they've got everything else operating for them and they're making their money already.
No, but I'm seeing guys at that level that are all over it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what it is.
Maybe raising more money, try to get more funds in. I mean, I think there's a place for it. I think if you know, like a lot of people turn their nose up at it, especially the old school kind of investors are saying, nah, social media, it's not for me. But I think there's definitely a place for it, even if you do have shitloads of money and you're not needing to
You
get
like a bit
private
of
risk.
social yourself, don't you? Have your dances and they're
I've
phenomenal.
given up the dad dancing, to be honest with you. It was not doing my credibility any good, man. It was. I just
professional now.
I realised that it was. Well, that was when people obviously at the start TikTok. It was a dancing app, wasn't it? Everybody just went on there for a dance, and then I realised, well, I'm not a very good dancer.
Times. Yeah, it's different content.
Did you have any dancing videos?
Nah, because I was I wouldn't say user, but a consumer of TikTok like during, because COVID is kind of when it blew up, wasn't it? Like, during that times, and I used it for that, like just to see you through, and then obviously it changed. But I never started making videos and then post on TikTok to maybe last year or something. I mean, so I was very late to joining and actually doing the videos on it, but I know I like your socials as well, because not everybody puts their face on camera. So people do socials all the time. I'm at this viewing, take a picture, take a video. Like, okay. So now, like, I've got an iPhone now, but when I had the Samsung, you used to be able to press a button, it would change from main camera to front camera, so you could get your face in real quickly and then go back and forth, or you get director's view on it as well, where you could actually show your face and walk around, which is brilliant. But iPhone, you can't do that.
No.
That I know of.
You got to turn it around.
So
like
I
that.
turn it around like that, and then I go, like, you always want to get your face in, and you usually say you need to be that face of.
Well, people come up to me at networking events and all that, and they're like, say to me, like, what's your advice for somebody starting out? And like, you're gonna, maybe start out with no money. Okay, how are you going to get into property with no money? You need to obviously work with other people that have money and maybe partner up and try and get private investor finance.
Yeah.
But unless you're putting yourself on camera and you're showing up daily, people are not going to build up that trust in you.
Aye,
you know?
they need to learn a bit more
You
about
get-
you. Because that's how
Aye.
I'll try and do posts about kind of family stuff or personal stuff as well as the property. Because if it's just property, like getting hammered at this viewing, sold this deal, at this viewing, sold this deal, here's a project, I can get very monotonous and boring. People's not going to buy into that because they want to buy into you because they're investing in you essentially,
Yeah.
not just a project. So
I think I'll be honest with you, I thought your social medias were quite memorable because you get lots of them. We've all done ourselves. Sometimes, you're walking, it's just the same as the next one.
Aye.
So it's quite good. I'm going to ask you a question, right? And then I'll let you think about it. And while you're thinking about it, you can sit and down that drink.
I've seen you drink. I've seen you
very-
drink these, and the
They're
last
very
one.
good.
well,
the
we just
last
done it with Vicky there.
The last
to
one I
shake it
seen, it was like Sean was like taking a wee sip. Then he was like,
Oh, to be fair, I tanned that one there and it was still horrendous.
Tanned, is that? We'll watch on the video. You never tanned it.
I did, I necked
So-
it. Oh, that one there I did.
You got to shake it first, right? So you seem to be really good at that, by the way.
He's a right-hander.
It says, describe your dream property in 3 words. Take a drink, come back, tell us straight away.
dream profit in 3 words. Right.
Do you want a hand to open it?
Right. I'll just take a wee sip in case I speak.
No, just down it. It's fine.
That's for you. That'll be a good video.
Wolf, it's strong, innit?
It's nice.
Horrendous.
Do you know what to finish
Hits the
it?
back of the throat.
You want to finish it?
I mean, it's not bad. I quite
Nah.
like
Mate, it's good for you.
Nah, hate it.
that. Sorry, what was the question again?
3
Ideal.
words.
3 words.
Dream property.
Ideal.
Doesn't need to be investing, just your dream property.
Oh, that'd be good. Right, okay, so beachfront. Outdoor pool. And loads of light, these big wrap round 360 windows where you can just see right the way round.
A glass house almost.
Aye, glass house, glass box. I would have got burnt down in LA there recently.
So,
I think it's about 10 words.
no. I
outdoor
got it. I
pool.
was just trying to work out where we
Oh,
were
sorry,
going
so it
with
was
it.
three
Sorry.
phrases.
No, I
Pool,
got
beach,
beachfront,
glass.
outdoor pool,
Glass
high
house.
visibility,
Aye.
glassware.
Loads of that natural. Like I see it all the time. So I watched that. You've seen that Sale in Manhattan with
Yeah.
Ryan Serhant
Aye.
on Netflix. Brilliant. I like Ryan stuff as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
But it's houses he's selling. Wow, it's different levels. It's in Manhattan, but those types of houses, like the big glass, we were saying the glass and the outdoor pool. Like that's what I thought. It's not like next to the beach, but they're phenomenal. Then, but you like a good swim, you love the outdoor pool. At
I guess I
Lloyd,
could
don't
probably
you?
do the outdoor pool from right next to the beach. You just jump in the sea, don't you? So,
That's like,
It's nice to have
cold
both.
water
aye,
therapy.
but no, the outdoor swimming, I come and go with it, but I do feel that it's good. I feel great after a swim. Really, you come out of it, you feel fresh. You feel like it clears your head as well. That's some people do like meditation. That I'm the one. I can't do it. Like I've tried before. I can't focus enough. For some reason, I can focus and my mind goes. It just drifts away. See when I've got my head in the water and I go up and down. I do about 70 laps.
Wow.
And my head just drifts away. Everything, all the property stress, the tenants, the landlords and everything like that just goes. And then I get clarity.
Do you listen to podcasts when you're swimming?
Sometimes so you get these waterproof. It's annoying though because you have to download MP3 because the Bluetooth doesn't work in the water.
All right.
So it needs to be MP3. Otherwise it cuts and it comes and goes. But I love the swimming.
So,
But apart from that, I don't use the gym for much else.
Started using it again this week.
Apart from
Is
the
it not the same
coffees.
gym it used to go?
Aye, the coffees and the...
It's just been the coffees in the Glasgow.
Every time I've been to your gym, I've only seen the coffee shop.
I went this morning.
The
Look
biggest,
at-
the
look at
biggest,
CCTV.
the biggest thing that David Lloyd did was take away the macaroni cheese off the menu. They used to
I
have
never had that.
they used to have a kids macaroni cheese, man, and it was lovely. And then I used to go in there and have kids meals just for that.
Kids meals are banging, but
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair,
and they're only £5.50 or something like that, and you get the full meal. Whereas you get like a bloody 2 eggs on toast, and it's like £9.
£18.
Aye, you know what I mean?
I know. That's another question. So I was going to say, what's your? I say guilty pleasure. So if you're taking a break from property work, apart from swimming, like what's a guilty pleasure of yours you would like to like indulge in, rather than not a kebab after the networking event, which seems to be your go-to.
Aye.
There's like stuff that I do. I mean, I do get a bit guilty about it recently. I have been buying a lot of tech things, like I said, the drones and stuff like that.
Glasses.
Aye, all that sort of stuff, and wee cameras and stuff. So I'm quite a bit of into my gadgets. So I kind of research gadgets and like watch YouTube videos about it all and all that. And then I guess I'm quite sad though that way. I don't really have much else that I do.
Did you buy a high end? Is it a gimbal they call them?
Yeah,
A high
I've
end
got
one?
everything, man.
Phenomenal, man.
Aye.
I tried to look at that.
I just need to use it now.
That's like you'd have to sell your kidneys to buy that.
I mean, like someone messaged me on Instagram there, and he's like, because I put up that drone, and he's like, "Oh, you're so lucky that you can have a job that justifies buying that." Because I think he's obviously like, "Oh, he's clearly put it through as a business expense."
Aye.
So I know there's other people that are into their gadgets and their tech as well. For me, it's like I'm not into watches. I'm not really
That's a thing.
I'm not really into cars, to be honest with you. Like we've just ordered the Tesla Model Y there, and the thing that I'm getting excited about is the big screen and the
tech part of it.
the YouTube. I can watch YouTube videos, watch the podcast now, and on the big screen in the car.
I was going to say something when you said that.
Holidays, so I like my holidays and I like my travelling.
What is that? Is that the thing that gimbal thing you hold and just
Aye,
steadies
when
the
I've
camera,
been to,
basically?
when I've been to your events and stuff like that, you're taking the video and it's phenomenal.
Very steady, good quality.
I'm desperate to get one. But
It's really nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the new iPhones and all that, this is turning into like a tech talk now, isn't it? The new
Tech
iPhones.
world.
But you're talking about other stuff that I like, can I spend my money on that? Trips, experiences, travel.
where's the best place you've been the last couple of years?
Well, we took the kids to Vietnam. That was a big one. And
I remember you going there.
taking
actually.
3 kids, under the age of 10 to Vietnam when you're
Why
trying.
there? Was it
That's
just
brave.
never been there? Let's just go.
Well, me and Lisa, my wife, did a lot of travelling when we were younger before the kids, and both has been like Thailand and all the rest of it. Both loved it. And I just love the food and all that. Vietnamese food was one of the main attractions. But taking the kids there was a stress. Don't get me wrong.
Aye.
Like having a 4-year-old and all that, trying to cross the roads when you've got like literally the way they cross the road over there. There's
Yeah.
no traffic lights. There's no
Just
green.
meant just go.
There's
It's
no
safe.
green man. You need to just go for it. I think you've been out
I've
there.
been a few times, and it's
Aye.
kind of like shut your eyes a wee bit and pretend
Aye,
there's no
just-
cars just
Just
about
need
to
to
hit you.
go for it. I mean, it was an experience and we'll never forget it, but we'll probably no hurry back until the kids are
Kids
in the
probably
middle.
forgot it. Like, I don't never want to go back there. Just take me to Disneyland, Dad. All right.
That's exactly what it was. Next year, can we go?
Aye.
Can we go back to
Did you not go
Florida?
there though?
I've
You've
been a
there?
few times. Again, that's people ask as well. We did a podcast on why'd you get into property, and obviously that, along with the business, has allowed us to have these experiences. So I feel pretty fortunate because not everybody can do that. 3 kids, it's a lot of money.
Aye. What is?
So see, I'm jumping over and I'm actually adding questions that are not in this. I'm sorry.
Aye, go with the
Alright.
flow, man.
Aye.
So, elevator, 2 minutes,
Right.
30-second elevator. What's
Give us-
your elevator pitch for you? I know I've just put you right on the spot here. And don't just be going, I'll look after all your properties. Just you, the person, Nick. This is your
I think,
life.
like, obviously, like, you got to look at your own values and what you're in this for. And obviously, we're all out to make money. Like, you can't, there's no point in
Aye.
beating about the bush, right? But you've got to go into business with ethics and values, knowing that you're not going to fuck anybody over, being transparent. I think you've got to be transparent. If there's a problem and an issue, you've got to come clean and just explain and just come up.
Yeah.
Just be upfront, because ultimately you're probably going to get found out later down the line, which is going to do reputation a lot more damage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want somebody who is the elevator pitch, if you want somebody, who's transparent and will try and get the best solution for you, and I treat all the properties like I kind of treat my own anyway, always looking to get the best value. So I know like a lot of agents out there will, they make a big markup on maintenance fees and stuff like that, so you actually have no idea sometimes what the contractor's charging. So it'd be like a washing machine repair. Maybe it's like 50 quid that the agency is paying. They'll charge it out at like 85 or something like that. We're fully transparent. If you want to see a contractor invoice, we'll send you it straight away. What you get charged by us is what the contractor's charging. Apart from safety certificates, we have a small markup because we're doing them at volume. I'm quite honest with my landlords about that. But it's amazing in the industry how there's a lot of stuff in the background that goes on where they're making a lot of money.
So you do no markups?
Not on maintenance and repairs, only on safety stuff. So your gas safeties, for example, so we get them at a reduced rate and then we charge them at a...
But that's the benefit of having that business in so many, because the
volume.
gas safety guy, gas engineer, can I get on there?
Yeah.
He knows, I'll give you a better rate than I would anywhere else because you get 300 properties. If you need them done, you'll come to me. So why not take that as a bit like getting a trade discount to that? Everybody takes
but then the markup
almost
that you had is probably the same as what the guy would get charged anyway.
If you went to the guy that we use and you said, I've only got 1 or 2 properties needing done, can you do me a gas safety? It's probably going to be just about the same anyway.
Aye.
Maybe a wee bit more.
It's not like it's going to be like he charges, for example, say it was 100 quid, and Nick's going, that's 250 quid for that. Do you know what I mean? It's no... I wouldn't
I'm shooting myself in the foot here though, because I speak to other agents like, you don't charge markup on maintenance? Are you crazy? That's the way we make our money.
Literally right at the tip. Honestly, literally just there.
So that might change. Any landlords listening to this, next year I might send out a letter to
prices
say...
are going up, right? ADS is going up, our prices is going up.
So that elevator pitch might need to change, but at the moment that is the elevator pitch to sales.
I suppose that's what makes it quite unique, because I know a lot that add markup, like 15, 18, 20% markup on top of things, and that's just phenomenal.
We'll take a project management fee if we're doing a full refurb and it's a lot of work. We'll do a 10% on the full contractor costs, but that would be, that would be a bigger job where you're ripping stuff out.
There's more to it though, because there's a lot more organisation with that, and even with the stuff with the gas certs, I know using that just as one example, but it's still be a case of saying to your landlord, you're looking after the property, and you're sitting down and say your gas cert's now up for renewal. Probably an automation for that anyway.
Yeah,
they could turn and go, right, cool, I'll sort it. Right, cool, you going to sort it? Can
we
you sort it for
that?
me? That's fine, I'll sort it for you. But if you're charging this is the fee to go and do it. So I wouldn't. It's convenience more than anything. That's what the markup's really covering, is your time to organise that, get it done, make sure it's done on time, correctly.
Right.
And the markup is just that whole, they're paying for that convenience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
take another swig of this, shall I?
It's horrendous.
I can't believe that earlier I asked you what made you unique to everybody else, you never said zero markup and maintenance. That'd be the first line that came out. That's like phenomenal.
When we were going right back to the start of the podcast.
We'll start again. Hi guys.
Just cut that
Hang
and
on,
put it at the
just
start.
zoom in these pictures here. It's always great. See,
I quite like ginger, so
No.
it's nice. Takes away the cold.
I had a really bad dose of I'm pretty sure it was the flu. I mean, it lasted a month.
Everybody had it in December.
December.
January.
I went up to my mum's for Christmas, and my mum still looks after me. Flash sticking out your head. I mean, she's good. She's like, I'll make you a wee hot drink and all that. And she comes through and it was the ginger. So she put that ginger in it. Oh, it's brilliant with the honey.
Aye.
I loved it.
Remedy.
Aye, brilliant.
Do you go up to Inverness much?
Yeah, well, I say yeah. I mean, maybe 4 times a year. Love it up there. It's funny because I was desperate to get out of Inverness when I was younger. And now I'm not desperate to get back, but I really like going back. And again, because I'm into the nature and the mountains and that, and it's beautiful up there.
I've got a friend he works for Inverness Medical, lives up there.
Oh, that's right, you're saying, yeah.
And then quite a few guys I know that come from Muirvord, which is in the Black Isle, which again sounds like somewhere out of Lord of the Rings.
I'm not, I'm talking about this, I'm going off topic. I'll let you get back to your questions.
I was going to say, I was looking at time, but so one thing we like to touch on, I suppose, is that whole under the floorboards, open up the floorboards, what you want to call it, is just getting into the kind of gritty stuff of challenges and I guess failures. Because obviously looking at successes is brilliant. You got a business, 200 properties, brilliant. But that's, I would be very surprised if it's not came with its failures and challenges and stuff like that. So, you know, if you were to look back over even the last year or couple of years when you've been trying to grow or you have been growing that business, like what's the biggest challenges or maybe even failures you've attempted to do that didn't work? And
maybe my wife nearly leaving me numerous times because you'll know as a business owner, it's fucking hard work, man. It's hard graft.
Mm-hmm.
And you need sacrifice. And whether that be you're not fully present or engaged in family life, or you're coming in late, or you're having to go out in emergencies, there is a sacrifice there. And to be fair to Lisa, she's taken the hit in terms of she has had to take up like reins of like being fully there for the kids and all that, where my mind's always been on, fuck, like how do we fix this problem? Like I've got that meeting with that landlord tomorrow and they're wanting this, that and the next thing. You know what it's like, man? Your mind's constantly rolling, isn't it? And thinking about other stuff.
It's like, I used to, like, she's like, oh, you're always on your phone. You're like, I know, but if I'm not on the phone, this doesn't get done. And I think you've spoken before, I've spoken before, like trying to find that balance is so hard. Yeah. Like people have tried putting their phones in the car, different rooms, turning it off. I think we tried, both of us putting our phones, just leaving it on charge and just putting them on silent.
Yeah.
An hour that lasted maybe.
I know.
But it's like, I think in what we do in terms of property, especially a letting agent, it's always constant. There's always something going on. Or if you're trying to get a deal over the line, there's always something. Like somebody's still up at like 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock. I'm still getting trades to phone me. It's 7 o'clock at night because they're still walking away. There's an issue.
Yeah.
Like, it is non-stop, so it's very hard to find that balance. But then I've always looked at it, again, go back to why you start to get involved, choices in life, family. You don't want to be so involved in the building the business or the property, however it is, that you build it so high that you achieve that goal, that dream of, yes, I'm here now, making the money I want, is it the perfect place? But your kids are now like 35, growing up and whatnot today week, you've never been there on that side.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? So finding that balance is super tricky.
Yeah.
So,
but you start off with the best intentions. So I think I remember I was like, right, I'm not going to look at a phone after 8 o'clock at night. And then it was like, I'm not going to look at a phone after 8 o'clock at night unless it's emergencies or something that's really urgent or something I'm working on that can't wait.
Right.
And then I'm like, I tell you what, I'll move my phone to the other room and then I'll bring my laptop in. And then we're like sitting to watch the telly and I'm sitting on the laptop and then I'm the same as you, 30 minutes in, I'm like, who is this? You know, and my wife goes absolutely ballistic because I've not just been watching it because I've just been typing away. And you're right, it's about not being there. It's quite...
It's...
How are you going to change it?
So how I'm going to change it is that now that we've got 4 staff, right, it has helped massively. Probably that's another thing that I should have done a lot earlier on, hire that first member of staff, but I'm a bit of control freak and my mindset had to shift because I was like, nobody else can do this better, you know, the usual, but it's worked out well. So
How long have you had them in, sorry? How long
so my first hire was probably about, I think she's been with us about 3 years. So my business has been going like 7 years. So I went for I went for like, 6 years probably full. So I went for like, 3 years just myself. Mm-hmm. Probably after year 1, I probably should have got my first hire.
Yeah.
But, and then you've got to take that hit. And I was like, no, that's going to cost too much money.
Nobody can do it as good as I can do it.
Nobody can do it, exactly. But now, where I'm at just now is because we've got a lot going on with 4 different members of staff and we don't have an office, right? So it's like, we've got Google Chat, so it's like everybody's sharing stuff and the problems and everyone's helping each other. But that kind of that's sucking up my time as well because I'm in the mindset still that I need to know what's going on. Going back to the thing where it's like, why would landlords come to me? It's because I know what's going on. Mm-hmm. But I think I need to take a wee step back as well. Mm-hmm. So it would be that the test would be to go away for a week and just totally shut off. And then when you come back, the business has gone into administration or liquidation. You're like, you don't have a business. No, I don't. The team would not do that because they're absolutely brilliant. But that would be the test. So that would be the next step. Literally try and switch off for a week. And if it's still there and everybody's happy after a week, then you know you're on to something.
You'd be itching, but wouldn't you?
I remember I went on holiday once when blackberries were trendy and I was there with the missus and we're doing it. or crackberry, as they used to get called at one point, and I'm on holiday just every day. I remember she just picked up and threw it in the sea. I was like devastated. I was like,
that was just when they came out, so they were about, that's divine.
Waterproof.
I'm in the middle of emails. Do you know what I mean?
And you made it through that,
Right.
and I'm glad to say that we've made it through as well, so we're still together.
So last question, or it was last two, but I'll wrap it into one just for the time. But so the best piece of advice you've ever heard and recommend to someone else, would that be someone starting or somebody in a business or in property that's now looking to grow, and then just follow on to that as future? Like, what does this year look like for you, for our property, for commercial space you're looking to get into?
I think I get that question quite a lot about the best advice starting out. It's always got to be...
Or the best advice you've been given
Oh.
that you would recommend to somebody else as well. Like,
Or that I would recommend. All right, that I'd be given as well. It's got to go back to, like, what's the end goal?
Mhm.
It's got to be, man. Because you can't start doing something until you know where... you've got to have an idea where you want to get to.
Mm.
I'm sure that is the best advice that I've been given. And for me, it's like, okay, so like eventually we'll get to a point where the business will go to a point where it'll either be taken on by, one of my kids coming up, or else we'll sell it. That's the kind of end goal. And then it's like live a decent life without any stress. So start with the end in mind and reverse engineer.
yeah,
And strip it back and go, right, well, I want to build. For me, it was like, okay, well, I actually said right at the start, I want to let an agency with 200 properties. For me, that seemed like a massive goal.
goal's done, retire.
Aye, but that's the problem again. Us is kind of, I don't say like I'm some amazing entrepreneur. Then
You've got
I'm
there,
not
like,
just a
oh,
smart.
well, that
I'm
was
just,
actually easy, and I thought it was easier. I thought it was going to be, let's go to the next one.
yeah,
and then you just keep
yeah.
going.
I'm just a small business owner at the end of the day, working in property industry, but I do feel like I'll never be fully satisfied as well. So you've got that end goal, but then you get there and then you're like, nah, let's just go
I
again.
can keep going. I'm actually not ready to
Aye.
quit as such yet. So.
Yeah, but
Cool.
but start with that in mind, reverse engineer, and then go, right, how do I get to that point? It's like
Yep.
it's like the people that come up to me and go, right, well, I want to build a buy-to-let property portfolio, but I'm scared of using like a property sourcer because I'm scared that in case I get burnt or something like that. Well, okay, so if you don't want to use a property sourcer, you're going to need to find them yourselves. That means that you're going to have to take a sacrifice and you're going to need to allocate a lot of time to that. Now,
Yep.
if you've got a full-time job, you've got the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, but we've got family, we've got kids and all that. Well, that's a decision you need to make. Are you prepared to make that sacrifice where one of you is going to be left holding the baby and the other one is out doing 8 viewings a day?
Aye.
You've been in that situation where you're out doing all the viewings.
Aye. Lunchtimes, after work, weekends.
Aye, when you obviously worked full time.
Yeah. Aye. I was only doing it at my lunchtime, obviously.
Well,
Go back to it.
you're away anyway. They can't come after.
5:15.
They can't come after you now, mate. Surely.
I need to take this goal. Cool. And then, no, that was good. And the future, so this year, longevity, you've got 4 members of staff, you're looking to grow that, you're looking to have somebody come in the middle between you and the staff that can update you once a week. Are you
Aye.
looking to grow
Or
your
would
own
you hand that
portfolio?
over and you focus
I've
on
already
commercial?
promoted one of the team to a manager. So she's kind of like dealing with most of the rest of the staff now. So she's kind of overseeing them. So it's not as intense. So they're not all coming to me for decisions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I try to give them like as much sort of power as possible for them to, use ChatGPT.
Here's how you use ChatGPT.
No, by the way, I have, and it needs proper training, but
Yeah.
they will be using that. And a lot of companies are like, no, we're not touching that, But it's definitely got to be brought in. But the goal for this year is obviously grow the lettings. I need an office because I think that to get that kind of building that team as well, and that kind of like the values and the principles of what you're trying to achieve, they need to buy into that as well and be part of that. Sounds a bit wanky, but you hear that all the time in business.
I get
And you don't really get that when you're working remotely. So, and then future investing goals. I really need to buy something this year, man. I've been saying it for the last couple of years. And Stephen, the podcast, just
I know.
slags me
Hammers it,
about
Just
it.
tanks you every time.
You're
I'm
actually
like,
going to buy a property.
I'm like going to try and find a couple to hand you just so that you stop getting slagged off them. I'm like, come on.
But at least I can stand it. I've got 12 buy-to-lets, right? So I've got a small buy-to-let portfolio. At least I can stand there and say, like, I do have a buy-to-let portfolio. And it does work, and it is a good.
You're not just talking the game.
It is a
as
good
go on it.
investment. So I'm not a total phony.
No. It was a good phone. Good. No,
So I guess if anybody has got a commercial block that they're looking to sell,
Aye.
contact you.
Absolutely.
you
I'm
could
looking
spread it to go.
at the commercial property. Try to network with kind of commercial agents now as well. So try to get out to as many viewings as possible. But I'm a fussy bastard when it comes to the commercial property, because Jerry keeps chilling me as well. He's like, you still no bought a commercial property? And I'm like, it needs to be, it needs to work for the family first and foremost, in between my house and the gym or something like that, and then have two parking spaces. It's like, but
nothing wrong with being fussy with it, because it's your investment. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have your criteria and don't sway from that too much.
Well, I don't know, because I think that you'll spend your entire life being inch perfect, whereas if you just jump in, it'll work.
Aye.
I think I would go the other way.
Again, it's changing that kind of mindset where there'll never be the perfect. I always say to landlords, because landlords get very nervous about, especially if they're first time. Not talking about real investor landlords who do it as a business, but landlords who come to me, it's their only property, they're very nervous about getting a tenant in their property.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, who are you getting? And then they start picking holes, but they've not done this, they've not got this. You're never going to get the perfect tenant. Equally, you're probably never going to find the perfect property as well.
I'm never going to get a perfect deal, but just doing the deal is probably the first step. If you get into commercial, especially, like just doing the deal.
Aye.
Numbers one, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's not got 2 parking spaces, but you get 1. So
Aye.
I mean, I take it you're looking for somewhere that's got a pool near the beach, commercial, 2 parking spaces, glass all the way around, aren't you?
Aye.
For a really low price.
Bit of forestry at the back as well.
Near Renfrew.
Aye.
I'll last it for
How you
months.
getting on with that?
Well, I could go to Paisley as well, but
No, good.
a beach.
Just obviously cautious of your own time as well. Want to be respectful of that. So it was good. Enjoyed
Contact
that.
details.
Yeah, people want to reach out for letting side of things. Got a commercial to sell you.
yeah. So the lettings, obviously, we're looking to take on more investors and landlords, teaming up with a few. Although we don't offer a sourcing service ourselves, we've teamed up with a few sourcers as well, so we can obviously offer that through other people. But trying to obviously grow the business and the lettings, reach out to me I'm on Instagram. It's Arc Property Glasgow.
Not Art Property Management.
Art Property ARC.
ARC.
We'll put it in the show notes as well.
Aye, just Google Nick Ponty and something will come
Yeah.
up, because there's only one Nick Ponty. There is.
That's like a song, isn't it?
Only one Nick Ponty.
And then see, the other thing was my account got cancelled, didn't it? It got wiped.
So it did actually,
don't
aye.
know if you remember that, but
You lost all your
Instagram
followers
used to
and
be
that.
Nick Ponty,
That's right.
Get hacked and
and
then get banned.
lost it, man. And there's no way, even though I'm pumping more money into Meta's bank
Aye.
account, there's no way of getting in touch with Facebook,
No.
and
Nah,
you
it's
can't just
impossible.
reach out to them or phone somebody up and say,
No.
going to sort this out.
So is there only 2 Nick Ponties? Is that what we're singing now?
There's
Aye.
one scammer.
The real Nick Ponty.
There's a scammer who's trying to get you to invest in crypto.
Is it like the real Slim Shady? Stand up.
Yeah. We'll put that. We'll put the actual one in the
Thanks,
show
guys.
notes. And
That was good
first
fun.
Wednesday every month podcast.
Podcast
event.
network event, first
And then
Wednesday at
Scottish
Village
Property
Hotel.
Podcast.
Scottish Property Podcast. YouTube's probably the best for it now. They're doing podcasts and the video, and Spotify as well. You can get on that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, mate.
Great
you,
work,
guys.
guys.
Cheers.
Loving the podcast.
Thanks.
Keep up the good work.
Cheers.
Cheers.